Good, powerful video, yes? You know, one of Dr. King's lieutenants, Reverend Jose Williams, had a favorite saying of mine, which is, he or she that is ignorant of their history is destined to repeat it. So it is important to understand the context of our history. I want to do a special welcome, certainly to Jan and the Brown family. They brought everybody, just about. Thanks for being here. Yeah. I listened to JW's first Friday show, and he did an interview with your brother Donald, who I know is a very pivotal member of the crew, if you will, and he obviously, we want to recognize him, certainly also providing the photograph that we'll be unveiling here later on this morning. So again, welcome to WKCTC, and you are a part of the family, so thank you so much for doing that. You know, they say a picture is worth 1,000 words. A video then, to me, speaks even more. So we do have a special tribute video entitled Keep the Faith, that's produced by our own TV crew, and we will cue that video as well.
The Emancipation Proclamation. Abraham Lincoln's executive order freeing the slaves in the United States went into effect on January 1st, 1863. Yet, over a century later, complete freedom for African Americans was not yet realized. Segregation was fully entrenched in the hearts and minds of many Americans, and even though all were declared free by law, African Americans were denied the use of many public facilities, businesses, and accommodations. Paducah was similar to most southern cities. By the late 1940s, African Americans were prohibited from eating in certain Paducah restaurants. They could not go to many local shops, and they were restricted to the balcony that had a separate outside entrance at the Columbia. Law would soon make such discrimination illegal, but it would also take some brave men and women to be the first to cross the barriers and ensure freedom was being upheld. Paducah had many heroes in the fight for civil rights, including two men with the same name. Curlee Brown Sr. was an early pioneer and fearless warrior in the struggle for human rights. As president of the Paducah chapter of the NAACP for more than 30 years, Brown Sr. led many efforts in Paducah and throughout the state to integrate public facilities and encourage inclusiveness and equal rights for all African Americans. Born in Hollandale, Mississippi, Brown Sr. moved with his family to Paducah as a teenager. He received his education at Lincoln High School and West Kentucky Industrial College, where he learned carpentry and cabinet making. The father of 7, Brown Sr. encouraged the African American youth of his community to make education their top goal. He worked with adults to help address injustice and discrimination in their jobs. In the summer of 1949, the Paducah chapter of the NAACP and Curlee Sr., NAACP president, decided that the time had come to integrate the all-white Paducah Junior College. On September 13, 1949, Henry Powell and Fred A. Wilson Jr., with the assistance of Joseph S. Freeland, attorney for the Paducah chapter of the NAACP, sought admission to PJC. When Wilson was refused admission because of his race, Freeland filed suit on his behalf in U.S. District Court in Paducah. With support from Curlee Sr., Freeland fought in various courts, and on January 22, 1952, the federal court in Paducah issued a mandatory injunction restricting the college from excluding qualified African Americans from enrolling. On June 9, 1953, Curlee Brown Jr., Curlee Brown Sr.'s eldest son, was one of 4 African American students who enrolled at PJC without incident. In 1955, Brown Jr., a Lincoln High School graduate, was the first African American to graduate from PJC, today's West Kentucky Community and Technical College. That same year in a letter, E.W. Whiteside, principal of Lincoln High School, congratulated Brown Jr. on having kept the faith for having worked diligently and having the determination to live up to your rights and opportunities. Brown Jr. served in the Armed Forces in Utah as a microbiologist assistant and received a bachelor's and master's degree at Southern Illinois University. In 1963, he was an SIU doctoral degree candidate living with his young family in Carbondale, Illinois, when he was fatally injured in an automobile wreck near Carbondale. In addition to his parents, Curlee and Alberta Brown, and 6 siblings, Brown Jr., 27 years old, was survived by his wife, Norma Jean, and 2 daughters. Brown's widow, now Norma Jean Ewing, described him as a bright young man who valued academic achievement and was dedicated to pursuing microbiology as a profession. When asked what Curlee Brown Jr. might think of today's event, she said, "He would be thrilled. He was a tranquil person, but he would smile broadly and appreciate it very much."
Thank God he kept the faith in his family. You know, this moment certainly is not lost upon me from this perspective, really from 2 perspectives. First and foremost, you know, there's an old cliche that says we stand on the shoulders of our ancestors and our elders and those that paved the way before us. It's not lost upon me that in 1909, Dr. D.H. Anderson, the visionary of the founder of what was then West Kentucky Industrial College, had a vision of providing an alternate path for education due to the laws of the land. You fast forward to Curlee Brown in 1963, that was the year I was born. And when I came to Paducah in 1990, I was 27 years old, and that's how old he was. It is not lost upon me the significance that Curlee Brown Jr. and the advocacy fighting to get into the then Paducah Junior College can now be honored 60 plus years later by clearly an African American president of this institution. That moment is not lost upon me, and I absolutely want to recognize that with you and the family as well. Thank you so much for paving the way. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. We will now have some remarks, and we will start first with our Vice Chair, Barry McDonald, on behalf of the WKCTC Board of Directors.
Thank you, Dr. Reese. It's quite a powerful story we just saw there. It gives me great pleasure today to be here and bring comments on behalf of the WKCT Board of Directors. To remember Mr. Brown's accomplishments today, we must think about the challenges he faced and overcame to be the first African American student to attend and graduate from Paducah Junior College. Renaming the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Office in honor of Curlee Brown Jr. aligns with the college's mission of promoting equity for the success of all students. Success begins with access, and today's event is an excellent example of why diversity, equity, and inclusion are priorities at WKCTC. The college's diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts and the honors of this historical event lead us here today and have the support of myself and the Board of Directors. May the ongoing work at WKCTC continue to enhance the experience of each student. Thank you very much.
Next, we will have comments from the Vice President, Teresa Spann, of our Paducah Junior College Foundation.
Good afternoon. At this momentous event, it is an honor to bring greetings from the Paducah Junior College Foundation trustees. The PJC Foundation provides support to enhance the college, including access to education and resources for student success. In addition, the trustees embrace the college's remaining of the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, the DEI office, in honor of Mr. Curlee Brown Jr., and we look forward to future DEI initiatives. Again, I am so very honored and grateful to give these remarks as a member of the PJC board. As an alumni of Paducah Community College, I am humbled and grateful to be standing here on the shoulders of Mr. Curlee Brown Jr. and so many others that have gone on before. And as I look out into the audience, you know who you are. So thank you so very much to make this opportunity possible, not only for me, but my family members and my students to be educated at this great institution. Thank you.
I was smiling so hard, my head is hurting. It's one of these surreal moments. When I came in the early 90s, there was a great debate at that point who was the strongest student leader that we had for the then Black Student Union. And of course, all the guys thought it was them, but actually it was Teresa Spann. So boy, you turned out all right, Teresa, let me say that. Speaking of students, next we'll hear from our SGA president, Lexi Harnett.
Good afternoon. As a WKCTC student and president of Student Government Association, I am so proud to represent my fellow students today and also honoring a fellow yesteryear student who broke barriers to access education. I am also proud of the college's recognition of the importance of diversity, equity, and inclusion and all their efforts to aid in their students' success.
Thank you, Lexi. Our next presenter have to hover for a moment to provide the full context so that, as I say before, as president, as my cabinet and team would say, I get the light. But there are those who stoke the light, right, and provide and actually do the work. So J.W. Cleary actually planted the seed now at least 3 years ago, and he may have this as part of his remarks as I recall it. Timing is always important. Of course, we had COVID for several years. But also, the significance of this event happening in 2023 is that as a college, we're also celebrating the 20th anniversary of the consolidated institution that we know today as West Kentucky Community Technical College. But I am thankful that you planted the CJW, and then certainly I was able to bring fruit. So with that, I will bring J.W. Cleary, president of our Paducah McCracken NAACP, who has a 10-minute version of his presentation. Thank you.
First giving honor to God.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it very much. The next speaker will be...
You know, if you ever can say who is your greatest friend, Dr. Anton Reese. Boy, he was here before and now he's back with us, and it's just a blessing. It really and truly is. And I have to say that I remember several times that I have cried over the years. But when I seen that video, that was one of those times. When I sit down with Fred Paxton and he said that we're going to give the NAACP $1 million, I cried. When we built that monument out there on Park Avenue in honor of Dr. King, I cried. I've cried so many times. And I think it's okay to cry. I want you all to know that. But I get the credit sometimes, but really I don't deserve it. I got the idea from Murray State University when they honored Dennis Jackson. And I said, Dr. Reese, this would be an ideal situation for the college to do. And what was amazing, how the Lord works in mysterious world in ways. Thanks. I appreciate that. And for the ones that know me, I'm always glad to get some help. But Miss Janet called me And she said, you know, what can we do in Paducah for Curlee Brown? Because God knows I wouldn't be where I'm at today if it wasn't for people like Curlee Brown. And I said, I got an idea that I'm working on. But that went on for 2 or 3 years, and I didn't know if it was going to happen. So then I was going to have to come up with another idea, because I try to keep my promises. But it worked out. And when I seen that video, I said, God is good all the time. That's for sure. But then the story, Dr. Reese said, well, how did you get to know the Brown family? Well, I got to be honest, I did not really know Curlee that well. But through Maryland I took over the NACP in 1990, I think it was, and Marilyn Brown was one of our best members. Wasn't she, Shirley? She was one of our best members. And Miss Alberta, Lord have mercy, I think I know all about Curlee Brown. Miss Alberta, I used to be like a little kid. I would literally go up there and just sit and talk to her and Mary Taylor, and they both was church members, and boy, they would just get to telling me about the fact that we paid $1, and the fact that one time Daddy sit right there on NACP, being a member of the NACP, buddy, that wasn't a good thing years ago. And he would sit there, he would get bomb threats, or they would get bomb threats, and he would sit there, and literally one time he was in his front yard with a shotgun, brothers and sisters. I remember these stories. And then when she told me that her husband was the president of the NACP for 30 years, I said, oh, Lord have mercy. Ain't no way I'm going to be no president of no NACP for no 30 years. But I just want you all to know that working with Janice and Dora and Marilyn and Joyce, and then I had the opportunity, I didn't really even see Donald in a long time, and he would always come for the 8th of August, and I had an interview with him at the radio station. But also I was supposed to say that the fact that he encouraged me to just keep on going. You know, I know in my life that we're better together than we are separate. I still live by that little song that says, it's just a few words. It says, if I can help somebody as I travel along, my living won't be in vain. And that was Curlee Brown's philosophy. You know, you can't just raise Cain. And, you know, me and Dr. Reese, we always talk about timing. Timing just has to be just right. It's a lot of things that happen. You got to be in the right time zone, in a way of speaking, so you can put it on the back burner and come back with it. But I do want to do this. If nobody else cares, I just want you to make sure you know these people, because their family, they sacrificed for us in Paducah, Kentucky, brothers and sisters. Miss Janet, if you'll please stand. Just let everybody know who you are. Miss Dora, if you'll please stand. The only reason I picked her first, I've been working with her real close. Miss Joyce, if you'll please stand. And the girl that helped raise me, Miss Marilyn, if you'll please stand. I'm done, but I want to say this. I think in my heart that this was all possible because of this young man right here, Mr. Dr. Anton Reese. Let's give him a round of applause.
Thank you. Thank you, man. Thank you. Thank you, JW. You want me crying on national TV, huh? That was 12 minutes. At this point, no, it wasn't. We'll talk afterwards. No. So clearly now at this time, it is the moment that brings us here today. It is the unveiling of the photo of Curlee Brown Sr. and Curlee Brown Jr. that will be posted in the DI office. And so after the program today, we'll do a private photo opportunity, certainly with the family, and they'll also get a souvenir replica of that as well. So I'm going to ask then to join me here at the podium and get some help to help just move the easel and stuff right here in the middle. I'm going to call up the, so Jan, if you can join us, you'll be to my right. J.W. Clary, Barry McDonald, Teresa, and Lexi, if you all can join me here at the podium. And Barry, and Teresa, and Lexi. And I'm told by my instructions that we're pull down, Jan, so if we pull up, I don't know what's going to happen. One, two, three. Jan, I'm going to have you to join me at the podium to bring some comments on behalf of the family. Let's again welcome Jan Brown on behalf of the family over here today.
Oh, what a beautiful day. Let's give God a hand clap of praise for this day. To Dr. Antoine Reese and the board members who have worked so hard under his guidance to see this day become a reality, it is indeed my pleasure to stand before you representing the Alberta and Curlee Brown Sr. family. The renaming of this office for my brother Curlee Brown Jr. is a single honor for my family and one that we will cherish forever. It is gratifying to see the work that our father did during the struggle for civil rights, acknowledged and appreciated, and his efforts that made Paducah, his adopted home, a better place for all. He never seemed to seek personal recognition, but you could see that smile on his face and his expression that said, "Thank you, Lord." As hurdles were overcome and battles were won. It was asked of me to share a little bit about my brother. My brother Curlee Brown Jr., and as we called him, Sonny, was the oldest sibling, and we all loved Sonny so much. We loved our big brother. He was such a kind soul with his little sisters, always making us feel very special. My big sister Dora and Sonny were like two peas in a pod. They adored each other and took care of each other, protecting each other from the world. My brother Donald, who could not be here today, you heard about him. He's just had knee replacement surgery, and he really wanted to be here, but he could not. He was a full 5 years younger than Sonny, and he remembers tagging along with him and our dear friend Thomas Biles back there, and Freddie May and others tagging along with them and having fun with them. And he remembers his weekends and staying in the A5A house, frat house at SIU. And most of all, he remembers looking over Sonny's shoulder as the photographs appeared from nowhere in the dark room my father had built for Sonny. This fueled an interest in photography for Donald that carries him through today. My mom and dad encouraged Sonny, as we called him, all the way with all of his accomplishments. Memories of Sonny are cherished by each one of us because he loved his family and his brothers and sisters, his wife and Norma his wife, and his daughter Carmel loved him. Our father was a firm believer in education as the universal equalizer and the key to success and prosperity. He instilled in all of us the belief that we should prepare ourselves for future opportunities by getting an education. Schooling and education was never regarded as a choice. It was the key to success. And today, on behalf of the Alberta and Curlee Brown Senior family, we thank you so much for this recognition for my brother in the renaming of the Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. May this stand to help us remember from whence we've come and the work that is yet to be done. On a personal note, I also would like to just thank all of our extended family, because that's who you are in Paducah. We love and care for each other and have done that through the years. I am so grateful that you have come to share in this celebration with us. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. As we conclude today's events, I want to offer a series of thank yous. Certainly, the incredible video again produced Jan JT with our TV department, really outstanding. Yeah, really set the tone. You may have noted that the food was prepared, by our all-star cast, our dean, and the culinary department, Eric England, was very intentional by way of the menu today that it captured Afrocentric themes, those specially held recipes, right, that plays a dominant part in our culture historically and certainly on. So congratulations to Chef Eric and the students all out of here. Thank you so much for what you certainly do there. I definitely want to thank the planning team, including our marketing team, certainly all of our M&O supports. Thank you so much because, again, nothing just happens by happenstance. And certainly, as noted, so many of you in the community have been incredible partners, friends, extended family. As mentioned again, right, as you know, that Paducah is not my home, but to have this sort of homecoming and an opportunity to play a real pivotal role in it, we are indeed thankful as well. And I should say, Connie and I, by the way, I don't know if I even recognize the First Lady. If you could stand just one more time. Connie. She said, hurry up, I got to get the Dillards. I'll hear that afterwards, right? Why do you always got to crack on me? Oh, I was on a roll there, Connie. Oh, I was on a roll. So I know that several of you certainly would want to spend a moment with Jan and her family. And then afterwards, again, we'll do a private posting of the incredible photo and leave you for some souvenirs, if you will, on behalf of WKCTC. So thanks for making a special day even more special. Again, the arc of history is very humbling and daunting, to say the least, and we will continue doing the work. So let's all keep the faith. Thank you all so much, and have a great and wonderful day. And please attend the other upcoming Black History Month programs here at WKCTC. Thank you all so much.